Hi, good afternoon. How are you today?
I'm fine, you.
It's good. So, how'd your week go? How was your week?
It was all right. Made a meeting
Okay, so how was the meeting? Did you go to an NA meeting or AA meeting?
and
Okay, so how was that?
it was good. I see some people that I know. I got some numbers. Meeting was on Who's an Addict.
Okay. Did you share?
No,
Did you get a chance to share? No?
no, I didn't feel comfortable.
Okay.
I talked to some people after the meeting. This one guy basically. I knew him for a long time. He got 10 years clean.
Okay, that's awesome. Is that somewhere that you see yourself?
That's too far ahead
Too
for
far ahead?
me.
I can understand that. Well, at least you went, so I applaud you for going to the NA meeting. That was fantastic. Um, So did you? So you got an opportunity to talk to some people, to get some phone numbers. Have you called anyone?
Yeah, I called him. I
Okay,
called him a couple of times.
all right. Have you considered a sponsor?
I'm thinking about asking him.
Okay, the guy who has 10 years clean.
Mm,
That's awesome. All right. So what else happened?
Went for a job interview.
Okay.
Might get my paperwork right down.
Okay. So where was the job interview?
Down neck and north.
Okay. Did you get an opportunity to go to DVR?
Yeah,
Okay. How was that? How was that?
I got a follow up appointment next week.
Okay. So can you just run me through like what was the process like?
We go in there, you gotta have a proper ID, I had that, but then, you talk to someone before they send you to your counselor or whatever. And you set up an appointment, you gotta ask you some questions, kind of work experience you have, you know, uh, you've been locked up before, where you living at right now, all that. But I got referred there from Integrity House. So.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. Okay. Um. So the job that you went to look for, that you had an interview for in the neck, what was that for?
HVAC.
Okay. So how you think it went?
I think it went all right. I got experience in that, but I got to find my certificate. You
Okay.
know,
And you have to figure out whether or not it's still valid,
right?
right? Did they ask you about that? If it was valid,
Yeah,
and your response was?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's something that you need to work on, right? You need to find your HVAC license and find out whether or not it's still valid,
Mm.
right? Okay. So is there anything else, any other jobs that you were that they, gave you a referral for, that you were interested in? Did you think about maybe job training, doing something different?
No.
No, just HVAC.
Yeah, I need a job doing that
Okay.
somewhere.
Okay. So does the job, the interview that you went on, is that convenient for you to get to? Is there any transportation
One
issue?
bus.
One bus. Did they give you any? They offer uh, transportation vouchers or a bus card or anything for you at DVR?
Yeah,
Okay.
bus card.
One zone, two zone.
Two zone.
Okay. All right. So how's the program? What's going on in the program? Tell me about that.
Program is a program. Program is you got knuckleheads, you got people trying to do something with your life, and you just got people there jailing.
Okay. So do you attend any anger management groups?
My counselor says she thinks I should, but I don't know.
Well, what do you think?
I think I'm good,
Okay.
but I'm open. You know, anything to stay out of jail.
Okay. Okay. Because I know before we had talked about, some outbursts that you had, some little, being impatient, getting a little frustrated with your peers, things like that. And I was just wondering if you had, considered anger management classes as being something that's the groups that would be something that's, would be beneficial for you. Because remember when you attend anger management classes, and like you said, you're open. but you have to try and be open to the process. If you're going to simply say, well, I'll go to get out of jail, then if you have a problem, then you're not really addressing it. Does that make sense?
Well, I wasn't stipulated to go to anger management. What I'm saying is that, you know, like when I was in the meeting, this guy was sharing about how you get angry at people, this, that, and other, and like, you know, he tried to apply some spiritual principles in his life. He said it start with him and it end with him, and all that stuff in the middle don't mean nothing. You know, maybe I can get there one day, but he said nobody can make you do anything. You know, if somebody make you angry, you gotta look at why you're angry. Like, what did they say to do to make you feel the way you feel? And at the end of the day, they can't make you feel anyway, because it's your feelings. You know, so, you know, this young guy said you gotta let that stuff roll off your back like water to a duck.
Okay, so what do you think?
What do I think? I think I can get there.
Okay.
I think I can get there, you know. First of all, you know, if I remove myself to put myself in position, I won't be able to get angry. I don't have to be around negativity. People clowning, cracking jokes, whatever. You know, in the program, right? If you're trying to do the right thing, some people look at you like, you know, you a punk, you stupid, what you doing, why you know, that dumbass shit. You know, like you trying to get better, like you ain't supposed to be trying to get better. Like I want to stay sick. Do what you doing, smoking K2 in the corner.
Okay. I see. So speaking of substance use and K2 and things, have you had any feelings or desires to use?
When I see somebody high, sometimes I want to, you know, not on the K2 though, that's just some other stuff, but you know, I see somebody high or whatever, sometimes I think about it, but you know, that's when I called the dude twice.
Okay, well that was very good.
Yeah, I called him twice because I wanted to get high, and he was like, listen, man, pay tape, they taking yours.
All right, well that's good. That's a very good thing to do when you felt like that, because you know you always want to try and reach out, you know, for help. So that was very good. So I know you have a primary counselor.
Mm-hmm.
So how's that going?
How's it going?
Mm-hmm.
You mean how we get along?
Yeah.
Oh, she's good. You know, she's good. She know what she's doing. At least she sounds like she know what she's doing.
Okay. Okay, so there's in your treatment plan, there's 5 life areas, right? So and I know we always talk about family, so I just want to kind of, you know, talk to you about your mom. How's she doing? Have you talked to her?
Yeah, she's good. I talk to her like twice, 2 or 3
Okay.
times a week.
Right.
She's good. She's getting old now. She's good though.
So, with COVID, how are you coping through COVID?
That's the thing with the program. Everybody ain't wearing masks. I ain't trying to catch it. I had a cousin die last year from COVID. I know some people. I know 5 people that died from COVID in 2 weeks.
Okay. So has that affected you in any way in regards to, you know, feelings or?
It's messed up. I didn't think it had to happen. I don't know if they got anything to do with recovery, but I didn't think it had to happen the way it happened. It's that Trump.
So you think Trump's responsible for the pandemic?
No, not for the pandemic, but for the way it was handled.
Okay. Okay. So for this week, I also know. Well, you know, we did talk about journaling. That's not one of your biggest things, you know, to do. You don't like, you
I
know.
wrote something.
You wrote something? That's very good. That's a big step for you. So what did you write about?
I wrote about my day.
Okay.
I wrote about the day I woke up. I wrote about how I woke up. I got a job interview today at the HVAC company down by the down by Essex County Correctional Facility on Deremus Ave. You know, that's another thing. I knew how to get there because I was there.
Okay.
And I went there with a positive attitude. I was presentable. I had a resume. I don't think it was the best resume in the world, but I had one.
Okay.
And how when I got back on the bus to come back up, I seen some people from the hood neighborhood that was visiting somebody at the correctional facility, and I just kept it moving.
Okay, so you didn't talk to them, or you didn't.
On the bus, but I got off Broad Market and I kept it moving.
Okay. Okay. All right. Sounds like people, places, and things.
Yep.
I see. I see. Okay. So, how do you feel about yourself? Do you feel good about yourself? How do you feel? Do you feel good about yourself? Do you feel that, I don't know, you're a good person? What do you think about you?
I feel good about myself. I feel good about myself, number one, because I ain't drinking and drugging.
Okay.
I'm trying to do something with my life. I wanted a job interview that was big, I'm always holding on to that. Not that that's the end, that's just the beginning, but I feel good about myself. I ain't trying to, I ain't hanging around knuckleheads no more. Inside, outside the program.
Okay.
I feel like I'm doing stuff right. I went to a couple of meetings. I got some numbers. I called somebody twice on when to get on.
Mm-hmm. That was very good. You ever do self-reflections? Do you know what that is?
No.
Okay. So self-reflection is kind of like, when you look in the mirror, sometimes, not necessarily all the times, but you can look in the mirror and say like positive things about yourself. So I know that you told me that you really don't, you don't like journaling, that much. However, there's alternatives. So you can look in the mirror every morning and say, or at night, after you had a good night, and you can look in the mirror before you go to bed and you say positive things to yourself. I had a great day today. I did really well today. I'm going to continue and keep this positive attitude today. For tomorrow.
I have to look in the mirror and say
but
that?
You don't have to look necessarily. No, you don't have to look in the mirror and say. But you could, just give yourself positive affirmations. But the house creed at Integrity House, it says facing ourselves is not easy, right? So at times I want to run, but fear will not control our lives any longer. So kind of like when you face yourself and you're actually telling yourself, saying these positive things to yourself, I think it works a little different. But, it's up to you. It's not something that you have to do, but it's a suggestion. It might seem a little awkward at first, but it could work. Or you could write it. You think that's something you might?
I might could write it, but I don't have to look in the mirror and say it. I could just say it to myself when I'm laying down at night, right?
You could. You could. That's wonderful. So we're just going to jot that down as something that you're going to do. You're going to give yourself self-reflections, right? Okay. Oh. Hey. Okay. So is there anything that, is there anything that you need, that you're not, services that you're not?
I need to see the dentist.
Okay, so you need to see this. So tell me about the dent. Tell me about your teeth. What are your issues with that?
I got toothaches on both sides.
Okay, so how long has that been happening?
6 months.
Okay. Okay. Have you had work on those areas before?
Yeah, previously.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to see it, what we can do in order to set something up for you for that. And, yeah, okay. Is there anything else?
My toes on my right foot are numb. Diabetes running my family, so I don't know what's up.
All right, so you need to see. So have you seen the doctor since you've been in the program?
No.
Okay. So maybe the first time when you came in, they did your vitals and stuff like that. Okay, so you need to see the dentist and you need to see the doctor because you think it's a possibility that you might have diabetes because it runs in your family. Okay, so who has diabetes?
Uncles,
Okay.
aunts.
On your father's side or your mother's side?
Both.
Okay. Do you smoke cigarettes?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. How long have you been smoking?
I started smoking at 23.
Okay.
Then I stopped. I stopped a couple of times, 6 months, 3.5 years. I've been smoking after the 3.5 years. I've been smoking now maybe 12 years.
Okay. So, do you think that's something that you want to stop? Or are you trying to stop? Is it
Yeah, I
something
want
that
to
you're
stop.
interested in now? Okay. So we do have a nicotine program that does provide you with nicotine replacement therapies, patches, gums, lozenges, things like that. If you're interested, but you have to attend the group. So the group is an hour every week, and they will send you. It's virtual, and they'll send you. A nicotine replacement. They'll ask you. You'll do an assessment, and they'll ask you. Well, after you do the assessment, they'll determine, which one would be better for you. I also think you do have an option because I know that some people use the patch and it irritates their skin, and some people are just not, they don't like the gum and the lozenges.
Mm.
So you would definitely have an option as to which one you would like to choose. Okay, so we went through a couple of things today. So we went through basically like your medical. So you need to see a dentist, you need to see the doctor because you're concerned about your diabetes. We discussed a little bit like family, in regards to your mom. She said she's okay. We also discussed, your feelings about, COVID, isolation, being in a program, things like that. How's that affecting you? Is there any stress that comes along with being in the program and being in isolation? Are you having any issues with stress?
I don't think so.
Okay.
What do you mean by isolation?
So, when you're in a program, you have, everyone's wearing a mask. So some people are positive, and so part of the facility or the program is in isolation. Some of the guys who have, because I know that there are some guys who are in isolation.
But I'm not in isolation.
Yeah, and then you have the quarantine. All right. Okay. So we discussed that. We discussed your anger and frustration, right? So you said, correct me if I'm wrong. We talked about the anger and frustration, the anger management classes. You don't really feel that, it's something that you need, right? Do you think that your anger and frustration basically stemmed from your substance use when you were intoxicated? You think that made it worse, or do you think that that's what it is? Do you consider yourself normally a calm person who is rational and does not get upset easily or anger easily?
It's faster when I'm drunk or high.
It happens more quicker when you're drunk or high. Okay. All right. So we talked about the anger and the frustration, and this is good that you being able to see both sides, like where exactly and when you're angry and frustrated. Like you're intoxicated, of course, things change, and when you're not. Okay. So we talked about the anger and the frustration. We went through the medical. We also talked about the life skills in regards to your job, and you had a job interview, which seems to have went, pretty well. I'm happy that you was able to get to DVR. I'm happy you was able to get to DVR. Oh, you okay? Morgan.
Mm.
I'm happy you was able to get to DVR, which was great. Did they do an assessment? They asked you a bunch of questions. Did they
Yeah,
ask you to
that's a
take
bunch
an
of
ink blot
questions.
test?
No.
No test? Okay. So that seems to have worked out pretty well. So you've done quite a bit this week. You've done quite a bit this week. So is there anything else that you would have liked to have done besides that? Besides everything that you've accomplished, which was seems like you did a lot.
No, I did. I need some more clothes.
Okay, so um how would you get, do you have someone who can bring you clothes, or
I want to go get my own clothes.
you want to go get your own clothes? So you have money in your account. Okay. Right. And cosmetics and things like that. Toiletries. Okay. All right. So you just need some basic things. Have you thought about housing after you leave here? After you leave the program, have you thought about housing?
Yeah.
And what are your thoughts about that?
That's why I need a job. I want to get my own place, room or something. I don't want to go live with my mother. She's saying it's a senior citizen, so it's going to be hard to get in and out of there, especially with COVID.
Have you thought about halfway housing or an Oxford house?
I do an Oxford. I really don't want to do a halfway.
Okay. Can you tell me? Just curious why.
Halfway is too much. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't work overnight. You can't. Whereas Oxford, I can come and go as I please.
Okay. All right. So I guess that's something that I mean, of course, there are options. I just want to make sure that we're touching all the bases in regards to all your life areas, to make sure that when you get ready to go, we have kind of like things in place, with everything. All right. So the Oxford House, is there one that you're thinking about, or do you know people who are in Oxford houses? What do you know about Oxford houses?
They got a couple in North. They got a couple in Bloomfield. They got one in Montclair. They got one in Jersey City.
Okay. All right, that's good. That's really great. All right. I think you're doing fantastic.
Thank you.
I think you're doing great. So you're off to a really good start. You seem like exactly what you want to do, where you want to go, and the things that you need and the things that you want early in treatment, which is very important, because of course, your treatment ends at the beginning of treatment. So it's important to kind of like identify what your aftercare plan is going to look like, or what you would like for it to look like, because it's all about what you want. I'm only here to guide and direct you. I'm not here to make decisions for you, just to give you some advice as to just what can be done, and just to help you take a look at some things that may be good or may not be so good, but you still ultimately you make the decision as to what it is that you would like to do. So now next session, what do you think that's going to look like? So do you have I guess you have to wait for the job to call you back maybe for a second interview, or let you know if you're going to if you're hired or this, that, and the other. So what happens if they call you next week and you don't have your HVAC license? What do we do? And what do you do?
I call the school I went to. I mean, you know, I was certified to state, so I call the state, you know, and see what's going on.
Okay.
You know,
So
I don't think it's expired. You know, I just gotta find it. You
Okay.
know, or I could get in contact with the job I had before, see if they have a copy.
Okay. All right. So did they give you a list of companies, or did they just send you on that one specific company? That one specific, you know. Did they have anything else lined up for you to go to?
I found it on my own.
Oh, you found that on your own. Did DVR give you, refer you anywhere?
No, that's the next
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. All right. So you go to DVR. They're gonna more than likely give you a list of places, you know, to go. A lot of times they also have jobs. They have jobs like in that area where you were talking about, because that's in the next. So they have a lot of trucking companies and warehouses, and so they have forklift operating jobs as well. Would that be something you'd be interested in if you needed to do forklifting until you can get exactly what you want? Like what would be acceptable for you until you obtained a forklift operating? Until you got a HVAC license.
Yeah,
job.
I do forklift.
You would do something else? All right. Okay. That's great. Okay, so we're nearing the end of our session. So next week, I guess we will discuss how, you know, your week went. We'll discuss anger management if you felt that you wanted to go to the group. Relapse prevention. Do they have relapse prevention groups as well?
Yes.
Okay. Do you attend them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So we'll discuss relapse prevention next week. We did, before we talked about some traps and triggers, but we'll revisit that again, and we'll talk about, see how we're going with the doctor and the dentist. You tell me about your week. We'll talk about your positive affirmations and how you working on those. You can do them in the morning and at night, and then we'll take it from there. Okay. Do you have any final words? Anything?
No.
Nothing else? Okay, all right, so that's great. So, and we're going to look into the Oxford House, right, just to check it out and see. And, I know you're not interested in the halfway house, so if the Oxford House didn't work out, would the halfway house be an option for you? If that's,
No.
It's still not an option. Okay. Okay, so it's not an option. So then we have to figure out a B plan if the Oxford housing doesn't work, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I think there's not an application process, but I do think that you just need to call and do a phone interview with you.
Yeah, phone interview, and then you got to do an in-person interview.
Phone in person. Okay, I wonder, are they doing that now, or is it virtual? But anyway, we'll find out, and we'll talk about that. We'll find out if they're doing in-person interviews, and if not, we'll find out if it's virtual, and we'll take on that. Next week, I would also like to discuss legal, right? So we're going to talk about legal. We have prevention groups, positive affirmations, and how your job went. How your job search is going. And the Oxford House and medical. Okay. Fantastic group. Fantastic session. I appreciate you coming in. I think you're doing a fantastic job. Okay?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right.